long ago, there was nothingness, endless quiet. The creator, Kishelmaconk, lived in this great, peaceful void. One day, Kishelmaconk had a vision of bright, shining stars, untold numbers of stars, filling the emptiness, swirling around him. The stars formed galaxies, worlds spinning in space. He saw one special star, our sun. Circling around that sun star were planets. He saw one special planet, the Earth. Circling around that Earth was a moon, our beautiful moon. His vision took him closer to the face of the Earth, and there he saw the wonders of its surfaces, mountains and valleys, oceans, lakes and rivers, forests full of trees of many kinds, tall oaks, colorful maples, bristling pines, stately elms. He saw great plains covered with tall grasses, expanses of brilliant flowers, fields filled with crops for food, like beans and corn. He saw bees and butterflies, ants and mosquitoes. He watched the heron as it flew across the sky, the robin as it pulled worms from the earth, the crow as it chased the hawk. Animals of every kind, insects, reptiles, fish, and mammals. He saw them all. In his amazing vision, he saw how all things come into being, how they grow and how they die. He felt all things. He touched the heat and the cold, the wind and the rain, and he felt fear and courage, joy and sorrow, hatred and love. All together. He heard laughter, stories, and songs. Then his vision ended. And now that he had seen it and held it in his mind, his vision began to be born. But he needed help. He made 4 spirit beings, the keepers of creation, to help in this great task. First, Kishelmaconk breathed life and spirit into Muksumsa-Lewenawonk. The grandfather of the North. To him, the Creator gave power over rock. He brings winter with the ice and snow. Then, Kishelmaconk breathed life and spirit into Muksumsa-Wapenawonk, grandfather of the East. Muksumsa-Wapenawonk could control the power of the winds. He brings the breath of life, springtime, birth, and new beginnings. Through him come creativity, music, and songs. Next, Kishelmaconk breathed life and spirit into Huma-Shewenawonk, grandmother of the South, to whom he gave the power over fire. She brings the summer and makes all things grow. Even the sun owes his fire to her. Lastly, Kishelmaconk breathed life and spirit into Muxumsa-Wichenawang, grandfather of the West. Muxumsa-Wichenawang held the power of water. He controls the rain that falls, the blood that flows through all living things. Both autumn and death come through him, getting us ready for renewal. The gifts of healing, our emotions, our intuitions, dreams, and our visions all come through him. The Creator gathered the four keepers with Father Sun, Mother Earth, and Grandmother Moon. I have brought you all together to create life on the surface of Mother Earth, he said. Now, it is time. They began with the plants the Creator had seen in his vision. Dense woods and shady glens, fruit trees and shrubs covered with berries, mushrooms, soft mosses and ferns, waving grasses and meadows full of fragrant wildflowers, seaweeds and water lilies. Next, the great beings turned their attention to the animal life. First, the flyers, soaring eagles, hawks, and falcons, songbirds dipping and swooping as they sang, raspy-voiced crows, red-winged blackbirds, bats and owls hunting by moonlight, moths, gnats, and delicate butterflies. Next, the swimmers, whales, dolphins, sharks, fish of the seas, fish of the rivers, mud-bottom catfish, leaping salmon, tiny glimmering minnows. Then, the walkers, foxes in their dens, silver-furred wolves, squirrels, quiet-footed deer, burly bears, and beavers. Last, the creepers, snakes, frogs, spiders, beetles, ants, grubs, and worms. Plants and animals of every kind all came into being. You might think that only things that were pleasant to feel or lovely to the eye were created. Not so. Kishelmaconk saw differently. His vision encompassed darkness as well as light. He made a spirit, Matantu, who brought evil into creation. Matantu made stinging insects, thorns, poisons, and diseases. Now, everything had its opposite. Each was set where it could be most useful and in balance with the rest of creation. After a time, Nipahuma, Grandmother Moon, spoke up. "Oh, great Creator," she said, "I am all alone in the sky. My spirit is lonely." "Ha," said Kishelmaconk, "I will send you a companion. You may have Muxumsa Petkoe to keep you company. He is a powerful spirit, Grandfather Thunder." Nipahuma was pleased. She and Muxumsa Petkoe came together. She gave birth to twins, a man and a woman. This man and this woman were meant to help each other. They were the first race of people on this earth. The Creator said to them, "I am giving you a special gift. It is the power to receive vision of your own." The mother of all mothers, our grandmother moon Nipahuma, cared for this man and this woman. One day, she saw that they were grown enough to go out on their own. "I return to the spirit world now," she told them, "but I will never forget you. I will watch over you at night and guide your steps with my light. We will remember you with gratitude, grandmother," they said. For a time, all was well. The whole of creation followed the laws that Kishelmakunk had seen in his vision. All lived in a beautiful, flowing harmony. Now, Kishelmakunk had given one of his creatures the job of ruling over the waters of planet Earth. This was Great Toad. Great Toad brought rains and determined the running of the rivers. How wide, how fast, how deep. "Little creek," he would say, "send a trickle into that lake," and the creek would obey. "Roaring river, pull back your waters," and it would pull back its banks. But there was an evil spirit, Maxazak. He had the body of a snake and a head with horns. Maxazak did not like that Great Toad controlled the water. "I want to control those waters," he hissed. One day, he attacked the Great Toad. They fought a huge battle. The whole earth shook. It seemed that neither could win. Great Toad tried to swallow the serpent. Oh no! Maxazak pierced the Great Toad's soft body with his sharp horn. Great Toad lay dead. All of the winds and waters of the earth rose up against Maxazak. The rivers and oceans swelled and overflowed. Torrents of rain poured from the sky, and the wind raged in huge gusts. There was destruction everywhere. But Maxazak was not defeated. The Creator looked and saw. He called out, "Thunder Spirit, go! Quickly! You must defeat Maxazak. He mustn't rule the waters." Thunder Spirit shot his lightning arrows. Maxazak fled and hid in the depths of the waters. Now, the lakes, the rivers, and the oceans all rose higher and higher to wash away the evil that the serpent had brought. But most of the plants and animals could not live in so much water. And so they died, along with all the people. It was a sad time. Luckily, at that time, there lived a great wise spirit Nanapush, the strong, pure one. He is the grandfather of the race of men today. When Nanapush saw the rising waters, he climbed to the tallest mountain. But day after day, the rain still fell, and the water kept rising. Nanapush ran to the very highest part of the mountain. There he found many animals, all trying to escape the flood. But the rain still fell, and the water kept rising. Nanapush saw a cedar tree. "Friend, cedar tree," he said, "we need you. Will you allow us to climb up your body?" The cedar tree agreed. "We thank you and we honor you for helping us," said Nanapush. Then he picked all the animals up and hid them inside his shirt to keep them safe. And now the great Nanapush began to climb up the tree, carrying his precious load, up and up and up. But the rain still fell, and the water kept rising. What could Nanapush do? He began to sing and play his bowstring like a drum. And that little tree, that sacred cedar tree, heard his song and began to grow. It kept growing and growing and growing, up and up. Nanapush kept singing and singing. He sang songs of thanks to the cedar tree and songs of peace to the wind and the rain. But the rain still fell, and the water kept rising. After a time, Nanapush felt done with his singing. The storm was not listening to his music. Nanapush had thought to break off some branches as he climbed that tree and hold them tight. Now, he bound the branches together and made a raft. He carefully put all of those animals onto the raft with him, and off they floated. They drifted over the sea for days and days. A long, long time passed. Soon, no land could be seen anywhere, not even Cedar Mountain. This small raft held the only living things above the water on this earth. One day, Nanapush knew the time had come to make a second earth. So he had a council with the creatures on the raft to talk about what they needed to do. Before anything else, he told them, we will need new soil. But where will we get some? They asked, looking at all of the water around them. Someone must go down under the water and take some of the old earth from the bottom of the sea, said Nanapush. I can dive down, said the loon. I swim underwater very well. I will bring up some new earth. So down he dove. He was under for a long, long time. Too long. When he finally appeared on the surface of the earth, the life was gone from him. But Nanapush breathed on him. "You will live," he said. And the loon came back to life. Next, Otter spoke up. "I'll go," he said. "The water is my favorite place to play." But he suffered the same fate as the loon. "You too will live, Brother Otter," said Nanapush. And Otter breathed again. Next came the beaver. "Surely I, who build a house in the rivers, can reach the bottom." But it was the same story. He too died in the attempt and was saved by Nanapush. But still, they had no earth. Nanapush looked around. Who was left? Who could swim so deep and so far? His eyes fell on Muskrat. Yes, Muskrat. He might succeed where others had failed. "Little Muskrat," said Nanapush, "we need you to try. You must find a way to reach the old earth, whatever it takes." "I will go," said the muskrat. And down he dove. He was gone a long, long time. Twice as long as Beaver. All the other animals waited and waited. At last he came up, spluttering and gasping, but he had a small bit of mud between his paws and in his mouth. He was barely alive, but he had made it to the surface with his valuable treasure. "Thank you, Muskrat," said Nanapush. "You are forever blessed. Because of what you have done, your kind will never die out from this earth." Then he called out to all the animals, "Friends, friends, listen, listen. We will have a new earth and new life. It is time to give thanks." And so they celebrated with a great Thanksgiving ceremony. "Now," said Nanapush, "we need something hard to put the earth upon. Otherwise it will sink again into the bottom. Who can carry it?" Turtle came forward. "I will do it," he said. "Ha, you are a good choice for this important duty," said Nanapush. "Yes, Turtle, your shell shall be the bearer of this new earth." Nanapush took the mud that Muskrat had brought up from below and placed it on Turtle's back. Then, with his breath, he gave it life. No sooner had Nanapush blown upon it than it began to grow. Bigger, bigger, and bigger, and bigger, and bigger. After a time, Nanapush wanted to see if that land had grown large enough to support all the living beings it would need. "Wolf," he said, "go and see how far the land reaches." "I go, Great One," answered the wolf, and off he went. He came back in just one day. "Ah, not big enough," said Nanapush. Wolf did not have to travel far. So he let the earth grow some more, and then sent Wolf off again. This time, Wolf returned in 5 days. "Ah, still not big enough," said Nanapush. So he waited and let the earth grow even more. He sent Wolf out over and over, and each time Wolf was gone longer. First 10 days, then a month, a year, 5 years, 12 years, but he always came back. Until finally one day, Wolf went out and did not return at all. "The earth is big enough," decided Nanapush. "Earth, I command you to stop growing." And it did. Now that there was so much earth, the waters became less and less, finally returning to normal. The creeks, the lakes, and the rivers could all take their places again. The animals found water-soaked remains of old grasses, flowers, trees, and crops. They took them to Nanapush, and he brought them back to life. Mother Earth bloomed and flourished. She sent forth one particularly beautiful tree. A little shoot sprang up beside it. As it got bigger, it formed into a man, the first new man. But the man was alone, and his spirit was lonely. So, the beautiful tree bent down, bending over to touch the earth with its very top. Some say it kissed the earth. And at that special place, a new shoot sprang up. This time, the shoot grew into a woman. All the plants and animals gave themselves to this new man and this new woman and helped them stay alive. To this day, the Lenape people remember their help and feel the gratitude that they owe to their living friends. It was the great Nanapush who taught this second race of people how to hunt and fish, how to grow food and cook and store it, how to make clothes and food, how to make weapons and defend themselves. He gave them medicines for healing and for sacred ceremonies. He taught them the virtues of generosity and kindness. He gave them wisdom, taught them how to be good leaders. He showed them rituals and spiritual ways, how to use their dreams, how to live from vision. When the people had learned all of these things, Nanapush was satisfied that they could survive and thrive. "Now," he told them, "you must remember all that I have shown you. Then you will be able to live in peace and harmony with the rest of life. It is time for me to retire, he said, but my spirit will stay with you. Then Nanapush changed himself into a rabbit and headed to the far north country, where he found quiet and contentment. It is told that when the leaves turn color in the fall and the fog is thick in the morning, it is Nanapush smoking his pipe, getting ready for his winter slumber.